The man just fed a sausage to a fox by the roadside. The next second, she turned into a human and promised to grant the man's wish. The man looked doubtfully at the woman in front of him. Although he didn't believe it, he still voiced his own wish. He bluntly said he wanted to be the richest man in the world so that all those who bullied him would regret it. After saying that, the man fell asleep, and the reason he said this was because he had been unemployed for 5 years. He wanted to apply for a job at a company, but was thrown out by the manager. To comfort his aging mother, he told her he had already found a job. But when he returned home, he found that his mother had been driven away by his wife just because his mother had discovered her affair. Looking at his wife and her lover Jack in front of him, the man angrily questioned her on the spot, asking why she had done this. But he was humiliated by Jack, and before leaving, Jack even threw a divorce agreement at him. The man was heartbroken, but what made him even more desperate was the gift and note his mother had left for him. Seeing his mother's expectations for him, he immediately felt a wave of sorrow. But what the man never expected was that while trying to relax, feeding a little fox could actually grant him a wish. Although the man didn't really believe it, he still vented his frustration and voiced his wish to become the richest man. After saying that, he fainted on the ground. When he woke up the next morning, he thought that the strange experience from last night was just a dream. At that moment, his phone suddenly received a text message showing that $300 billion had been deposited into his account, but he simply didn't believe it was real, thinking it was just a scam message. But the next second, his phone rang again. When he answered, he heard the caller telling him to take over as chairman of the first consortium. The man still thought it was a scam call, but in order to fight back against the scam, he told the caller that he would take over tomorrow and demanded 20 luxury cars worth $1 million each. After that, he put on the gift his mother had given him and once again prepared to apply for a job. Little did he know, the messages and calls were all real. The wish he made last night had already come true, and the little fox he met yesterday was actually the founder of the first consortium. Having been injured by a beast, after being saved by the man, she promised to help him fulfill his wish. At that moment, the woman had already learned about the man applying for a waiter job and was instantly shocked. She immediately ordered the vice president to welcome the chairman. Meanwhile, the man ran into an old classmate working as a hotel manager and quickly passed the hotel's job application, becoming a waiter. But just as he was getting used to the hotel environment, he ran into his ex-wife and Jack. The moment she saw him, his ex-wife arrogantly wanted security to throw him out, calling him a useless loser who didn't deserve to work there, and even insulting his mother. After hearing that, the man immediately wanted to teach her a lesson, but Jack stopped him and tried to use his position as a corporate manager to pressure the classmate into firing him. Not wanting to put his classmate in a difficult position, the man chose to leave on his own. But the next second, he received a call from the vice president, saying that the takeover contract would be delivered immediately. But the man didn't believe it, still thinking it was a scam. He angrily hung up the call, but Jack, who overheard the call, couldn't help mocking him, saying he had never seen the man in the company and claiming he could never be the chairman of the consortium. He then called security to throw the man out. Just as the man walked out of the hotel, he realized he had forgotten his ID card, so he hurried back to retrieve it. At that moment, the vice president sent to welcome him had also arrived at the hotel. Seeing the familiar man in front of him, the vice president immediately recognized him as the new chairman of the company. Just as he was about to speak, Jack, who was with the vice president, shoved the man aside. Jack warmly greeted the manager, but after noticing the man beside them, he angrily tried to drive him out again, but the vice president slapped him hard. Then, under everyone's shocked gaze, he took out the consortium's appointment letter and asked the man to sign it. Everyone was stunned, their eyes wide with shock, unable to believe that the man was the new chairman. Even the man himself doubted if it was real. He insisted he wasn't a chairman, and then left the hotel. But what the man didn't expect was that his classmate also left the hotel with him. Hearing his classmates teasing, the man instantly felt embarrassed. Just as he didn't know what to say, he heard his classmate invite him to attend the consortium summit, saying the only reason she worked as a manager there was to get an invitation to the summit to save her company from bankruptcy. After hearing this, the man agreed without hesitation and even came up with the idea of pretending to be the chairman to help his classmate secure a deal. But his classmate stopped stopped him, saying that if they were discovered, they would be blacklisted by the consortium. But the man told her not to worry, saying that even the vice president hadn't noticed he wasn't the chairman, so dealing with a partner company would be no problem. Little did they know, he was in fact the real chairman. The next day, the man, dressed properly, arrived outside the banquet hall. Just as he was about to go in, he ran into Jack again. Jack still didn't believe in the man's identity, saying he had no right to enter the banquet hall and even demanded proof of funds. Hearing this, the man instantly felt guilty, saying he hadn't brought his bank card, but his ex-wife exposed him, snatching his bank card and handing it to a nearby waiter. What shocked everyone was that the man's card actually had $300 million in assets.